allow for yourself to have, hobbies and relaxation and things
Mhm.
of that nature. We can't be all work or all family or just work and family. Where does the you part fit in as well? Welcome to Purposeful Podcasting. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Crystal. This podcast is meant to share how we and other entrepreneurs bring together purpose and passion to leverage profit in our businesses.
We are shining a light on adventure-loving, purpose-driven, action-minded, authentic, and rebellious entrepreneurs.
Just like us.
So join us as we talk about business and life and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Purposeful Podcasting. I'm Wendy, and I'm here with Crystal. She's waving. And today we're going to talk about really balancing work, life, and self-care. And I just realized that there's been a fairly broad discussion about using the word balance. For a while there, I was staying away from using the word balance. But I really think but I've come back to it because everything in life requires prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
And it requires thinking about prioritizing.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, nothing is, I don't, if you're thinking about balance, you think about being on a balance beam. Well, I've seen some gymnasts that are pretty darn fluid on that balance beam.
Mm-hmm.
And there are others that wobble, wibble, and they fall. They get back up and they get back on. That was sort of a digression. Oh, wait. Yes.
Well, I'm going to jump on that analogy because Lorelai, is my 6-year-old. She's doing gymnastics and she was on the beam this weekend.
Uh-huh.
And she came out really exciting. She goes, I learned a new thing today. She goes, when you're wobbly and you feel like you're about to fall, my coach showed me a trick with her feet to keep her balance. Anyhow.
Oh, well, but you know what?
And then
That's actually,
sorry, you see where I'm going with this, right?
yeah, well, yeah, there's a number of things, but it's also there's a little trick that you do. And I think one of the things today is we're gonna talk about some of those tricks because ultimately as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as actually as a female mom's, however you want to slice and dice that hat you're wearing, we need to keep our energy levels really high. And the key thing is to avoid the burnout that just happens when you end up maintaining a high energy level. Because ultimately, we want profitable businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm speaking for the both of us. We're in this not to create empires. We're not looking to create an empire. We're looking to have a lifestyle business that offers, the work, the life, the self-care, all that type of balance and that's what we strive for. I think my top of my list of things would be prioritizing self-care. Yeah, I know. Isn't that shocking?
It's her greatest strength, you guys.
I know.
She models it so well.
I have no problems getting a mani-pedi, but and I don't, I'm not meaning to denigrate that type of self-care, but hey, I get up out of bed in the morning because I know that I have to be physically active in order to be there for my family, for my friends, for my loved ones, and that's priority for me. It gets scheduled in the calendar. With that said, there are things that are in place, and I will shift over shift the microphone to Crystal. There are things in place that allow this to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to start with one thing and then you pitched that over and I was like, oh, now I know what you want me to say here. So,
oh no, I don't want you. I want you to say whatever's in your heart.
Whatever's in my heart. Well, so Wendy has a non-negotiable schedule of her exercise schedule and rowing. And that's a huge part of her self-care, which is something I greatly admire. And I love that she models for me because I have to remind myself to do that. One of the biggest ways that we can do that is that we forecast our business on a timeline of when we're available and when we're not, and make plans to accommodate those things. Because like Wendy has non-negotiable points in her schedule that she needs to maintain for her, I have things for me, whether it's I have a friend flying in this week that I want to spend some quality time with, or spring break vacation with my family coming up very soon. I'm not working so much on the back end of the business. We're still there for clients, but not so much working on the back end of business things, the marketing, the business systems as hot and heavy during that time. So what are things that we're doing to plan for those things? You know, Wendy's got some travel coming up. We both keep limited availability during the week for various reasons. We have massive systems in the back end in place in our business that keep it running efficiently. We heavily utilize all of the perks and benefits available in our customer relationship management software, our CRM, which is FG Funnels. And we use things like scheduling, you know, having things in place in our funnels that funnel in leads to attract clients consistently. We leverage the calendar options in that CRM to schedule our things accordingly, and it works around our time blocks of calendars. We have in place autoresponders to keep constant communication with our audience and with our community using our CRM.
And also, we do something as simple as, well, actually, I can see your Google Calendar. You actually can't see mine, can you?
No, I think that's right.
That's odd. But, you know, part of this is also the importance of setting clear boundaries. And I think that that's one of the things that is not for many, it's so hard, yet it is so unbelievably important. The fact that I have we both have clear boundaries, clear times where work is not an option. I mean, it may be, oh, you know, I have an hour that I'm going to sit in the car and do something. Okay, that's a choice. That's not an expectation. Or, you know, I'm sitting waiting for one of the kids, so I'm going to do something. Those are exceptions to the rule and not expected. Yeah, and I think the boundaries. So, and the fact that we communicate this to each other. Sorry, did I steal? Yeah.
No, you didn't. Yeah. No, but you hit it because you had just said, you see my Google Calendar. I don't see yours. It's not because she's super secret about them. I know her schedule. Your schedule is very predictable for the week because it stays very consistent. I know that Tuesday morning she has certain appointments. Wednesdays she has certain schedule things because you have a very predictable schedule. Yes. My schedule is not predictable with my daughter's medical appointments. So Wendy can very clearly see, is she available for something right now or is she not, without needing to ping me or bug me. Not that you're ever bugging me, but you know what I mean? We're very good at communicating. And I think we had to learn that as well.
Well, yes. Yes, we did. And I think that was part of, you know, going from a membership model business to two-person coaching, that boundaries are very important and they cross over. It's not just that we set boundaries with each other. I think that we set boundaries in our households that, you know, mom's working, go away time.
Yes. And I think the best part of all of those things, because we have clear boundaries, and one thing that we've learned in previous business iterations was that because I know I have limited bandwidth and time always to necessarily work on our business, both of us are very diligent about time blocking and batching different things to work ahead, because we're forecasting, you know, we've already had the conversation. We had the conversation in January about the summer expectations with work.
Yes.
I had made the decision that, I'm going to have the kids home full time. So we need to have certain things in place before then, that so that the business itself can keep running, because part of having a profitable business is there's certain things that need to always be kind of
Yes.
going behind the scenes. So we're going to do things like batch create content for podcasts, batch create content for socials and get them scheduled out, even batching our emails and things to have those out in advance. We will have, time blocked meetings occasionally for check-in. That leaves us all of the time to still do our client communications consistently throughout the day. But if that's the only thing I have to really manage and worry about, but not have to worry about the systems in our business in the back end so much, it takes such amount of pressure and stress off of me to be able to do those things, because I know all of those systems are humming in the background and doing exactly what they need to do without me having to manually execute, or you manually executing all of those things, because that's a nightmare.
Obviously, I can't agree more. And I realized that even without the long-term forecasting, being able to have the prioritization of tasks and the time management, those are really important skills to be able to learn. And knowing that this is how things have to work, I think is just it actually it takes the burden. There's a level of burden that of what do I do today? And there's no question I used to feel this as a solopreneur. What do I have to do today? What's a priority? And the fact that we have incorporated some strategic planning into the mix, really honed into what does the next 30 days look like, next 90 days, or even in this case, 6 months, 6 to 9 months. What does that look like? How do we prepare for it? It takes a small amount of time with a really incredible return in terms of when you talk about energy suck, sitting down and thinking about what do I do today to, is a huge energy suck. And it doesn't allow you to be as productive as you think you're going to be. Not to mention, when's the last time anyone really wanted to fall down that rabbit hole?
No.
And just things also to think about in order to keep that high energy level and to avoid burnout. Again, if you can incorporate physical activity, and that could be just a walk around the block, that could be standing up and actually working standing up. And maybe, I used to, when I had one of those tall desks, I would march in place or do, I didn't actually, I would do these little calf stretches while I was standing up. Super, it keeps your blood flowing.
Yeah.
And in a way, it keeps your mind active. And that's really important. Have that glass of water next to you. Drink that water. Try to get a good night's sleep. I don't know. It seems to be failing everyone I know lately.
I'm blaming the recent full moon.
Yes, exactly. Yes. If you're going to snack, I just bought some blackberries today that I can't wait to dive into. Yes. Allow for yourself to have, hobbies and relaxation and things of that nature. We can't be all work or all family or just work and family. Where does the you part fit in as well?
Oh.
And
well, that's the key, right? Because when most of us are feeling burnt out, it's why we we call it the Make It Happen challenge, and we run it quarterly, because what we're doing in that challenge is, I know what is a business and marketing coach doing, having people move for 30 minutes a day. Well, this is why, because especially as women, what we tend to do is we prioritize our families, especially our kids. Okay. Kids are all taken care of, and they're good to go. And we're running 6 million miles an hour to take care of them. Okay. And then if we have any free time, we first ask, what should we be doing? right? Like we should
Mm-hmm.
be like cleaning the house or doing laundry, especially when you're working from home. And then you have all the things that you need to do to manage your business, and that feels
Mm-hmm.
exhausting unto its own. And so when you have free minutes, I feel like sometimes we feel guilty when we take time for ourselves to go work out, to go do things, to have that bit of self-care built in.
Mm-hmm.
And is the biggest lesson that Wendy has taught me to keep myself from burning out is that I have to build in that self-care time during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 minutes of a day should be for yourself should be a bare minimum, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very least, if I'm moving for 30 minutes a day, I'm checking the health boxes, I'm checking the self-care boxes, I'm checking the boxes to help sustain my energy levels throughout the day so that I can tackle all of my other responsibilities effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that is easily put on the back burner and easily forgotten.
Yeah. And I'm going to challenge you
Mhm.
to also look at other activities that offer you, whether it's relaxation or rejuvenation, depending on what you need, that's in addition to movement.
Yeah.
Do you love to read? Do you
Yeah.
love to garden? Now you love to cook.
Mhm.
And so I think that cooking for you hits that challenge right there,
Mhm.
that you enjoy getting your
Yeah.
hands dirty and creating
Yeah.
meatloaf. Meatloaf. You don't do you make meatloaf?
I
No.
make meatloaf. I mean, I make a really good meatloaf, but I don't particularly like sticking my hands in meat
Okay.
with the meatloaf.
Yeah.
I mean, but
No.
I'll do it, but I love eating
Yeah.
meatloaf.
But whatever things that, and I love that a lot of it's very, a lot of these activities, whether it's gardening, cooking, painting, very tactile. Though for me lately, I really miss reading. I really miss
Yeah.
just 30, trying to block off 30 minutes to just read a book. And these are, again, what takes you out of whatever it is that, wherever your headspace is, put it somewhere else, And we just don't allow ourselves the time and the energy to have the mental clarity that we need really to thrive.
I think that's it. People think of those things are sometimes like nice to have. And guys, they really are must haves if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get through and have the resilience and grit to get through all the other stuff. Because when I look at somebody who's burnt out,
Mm-hmm.
99.9% of the time, it's not because they have too much going on. All of us have too much going on. I mean,
Right, right.
I don't know anybody, I don't know any single woman right now who is like, I got a ton of free time. Okay. Wendy has kids getting ready to go to college. I have small ones going a million miles a minute. It really doesn't matter what season of life you're in.
Yep.
We have clients with grandkids, whichever. It doesn't matter what season of life. There are 1,001 things pulling our attention. But what they are missing, the key component is how they are managing it. And we don't manage it by getting rid of less. I think people sometimes will say too, like, if I could just get through this season, or if I could just get through this month, which is like life's greatest myth, that it will get slower later on. No, the reality of it is that I think people that are dealing with it really, really well are the people who are building in those self-care routines. And it's
Mm-hmm.
boundaries, like what we just said before. Self-care is really setting a boundary to say,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
time blocking this thing,
Yes.
to say that I am unavailable for work or family from this time to this time because I am doing something for myself. And
Yes.
doing something for myself, I got a massage last Thursday morning, and it was the most glorious thing ever, but it was also really me saying, from this time to this time, I'm not available. I'm not available for anybody else because I'm doing something for me. And I came
Mm-hmm.
out of there rejuvenated. I napped a little bit during the massage. I
Yeah.
I had like so much clarity. I know that when Wendy comes out of rowing,
Many rows.
many
Depends.
rows, many rows a week. But anytime she comes out of a class, it is this of energy and
Yes.
ideas that
Yes.
are like Like, what about this, this,
Yes.
this, 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 this? And I get a stream of Voxers that are really brilliant because it's like, yes, that is exactly what we should do. You hit the nail on the head, or maybe we're working through a problem or a messaging thing or something. I feel like you get your best ideas
I do. I
and
definitely do.
rowing, and
Yeah,
then then you come back. Whereas I think that we would not have gotten there if we weren't doing the things we needed to do. I get, if I wasn't going for a run, or if I wasn't doing these little things for myself. When you think of balance too, because you said you didn't like that word, I always think about a scale of
yeah,
like the scale of justice.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
never
Where it
even.
tips one way, it tips
It
the
tips
other.
one way, it tips
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other. There are some seasons in life where you're going to do a little bit more of this thing, and then there's
exactly.
seasons of life where you can do a little bit more of that thing. And I think that it's just about being intentional.
Well, oh, exactly. And I think nothing in life is ever 100% or 50-50 or whatever. Nothing is ever so evenly balanced. And it's being very intentional and very present with what is important at that particular time. What is a priority right this second, probably in an hour or even a half hour, is going to change. And that's the way life is. That is
Well,
life.
even in our partnership, and we have to have continuous conversations about this. I think some people think, oh, you guys are partners, so it is 50-50. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes Wendy's doing way more work than I am.
And
And
sometimes I'm
sometimes
doing absolutely nothing.
and but I feel like there's this even flow back and forth between the two of
Sure.
us where it feels very balanced to me, and I never feel like I'm doing more or you're doing more. I think that in certain snapshots that's probably true, but I think
Hmm.
overall in the big picture it's a very balanced partnership and
Oh,
about
I totally
business
agree.
of
Yeah.
roles and
Well,
responsibilities.
and oh,
No,
sorry.
good.
And
No,
I
go.
was just one other thing popped into my head, and that is that in this sort of when we're talking about our partnership, is that it's all social connections are really, really, really imperative. For us, there is the whole thing about the work balance, but really the social connections is the social interaction and the ability to spend quality time with those who you want to spend quality time with is a really, really important part just of life.
Life.
And no question that we talk a lot about our square squads. And the interesting thing for me is I have stratified my square squads, meaning that I have like a square squad that's for the business. I have personal. I even think I have a square squad for rowing. I have one for like family, extended family, and also even for those, in my past.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that because it helps me overcome the overwhelm of there's so many people. To some extent, it's like, oh, well, maybe I should reach out to this person from my past because they are a priority and I want them to know that they're important in my life or whatever. So you make time and you put in the energy to reach out to people. Also, it's just that keeping the connections going, I think, is really important also for our physical health and our mental health.
I agree.
And having a support network is also, a good thing in a pinch.
In a pinch.
A
I
pinch, just a pinch between the cheek and thumbs. Just kidding. It's been a long day already. Who can tell?
Oh, well, especially for you. She was up early rowing, y'all.
Oh, crazy time. Crazy, crazy, crazy time. Crazy.
Well,
Anywho, on that note,
we will
I was
see
gonna
you
say,
guys next
yeah,
week.
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening today, guys. We'd love to know from you guys, what strategies are you going to put in place to feel more balanced? And what do you have forecasted that you really need to prioritize and get things ready for? And if you need any help with that, you know where to find us. And until next week, bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
but only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about purposeful podcasting on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.